everyone, and welcome back to Users Did What? I'm Yael Mark, a product consultant who helps teams turn messy user behavior into smart product decisions. On this show, product managers and UX researchers share stories about how real users change what they thought they know. Today, I'm so thrilled to welcome Swetha Viswanatha, the product lead of the telecommunications SaaS product Telekit. Telekit is the phone platform for small businesses that want to sound professional without spending hours on setup or answering every single call themselves. Shweta, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Yale. I'm really excited to be here.
So let's start with a fun one. If you could sneak onto any product team, past or present, which one would it be?
I'd probably want to be part of the Nokia phone or the BlackBerry phone product team to, just see how they went through the process of making decisions.
This is such a great answer to use this product time machine to go back and see those assumptions that are just in hindsight. We can say that there were false assumptions and to identify what you can not do in your future product management roles. I love that. Such a great answer.
Thank you.
But after we had this window to the past, I feel like we need to come back into the present. And I would love if you could give us a quick sense of the product space you're working in.
Absolutely. Yeah, I work for Vail Systems, and they are a telecommunications software company. Been around for about 30 years. They work with large enterprises primarily, so insurance companies, banks, any of the phone systems you might have encountered in your day to day. They work on the software of it, which would include like answering the call, routing the call, sending it to voicemail, and so on and so forth. My role at the company was to bring those complex technologies down market so that small business owners can make use of enterprise level technologies for their own businesses, but it would not require them to code. It would be affordable and easy to set up.
What are the biggest challenges you had to face working in this space?
The tough one is we are working with 150-year-old industry, and we're trying to catch up with everything that software can offer. Making the having that balance of the two technologies is challenging. Other than that, the users have very specific expectations. Even for a new product, they want like fully featured service and at a very affordable price. So like the balance between, how are we going to build something that has so much, but at the same time offered in a way that they would be willing to pay for it.
You touched on a very interesting point there about small businesses and their relationship with pricing. We tend to think that maybe small businesses would just be keen and beg for new digital solutions that will make their life easy. But thinking about their adoption cost, it's not just about the money. They also have small budget in terms of time, risk, and perceived effort. So even a free tool can feel expensive if it requires a setup or change. So thinking about how to make that easier could elevate the product proposition. When we talk about pricing, it's not just the numeric price tag that we put on our product. It's how people perceive the price. What was
Yes,
the specific moment that made you think, okay, we need to fix this?
initially, when we did the beta program, we were still trying to figure out our pricing. So I thought, let's do like 6 months of free trial and see how many people sign up and like get. At that point, I really wanted people to use it and give us feedback. And then we changed it to 1 month of free trial and $10 a month. And at that point, we still didn't see a lot of interest in just the product itself. And I realized that we don't want to compete with like Google Voice or any of these free tools. At the same time, we don't have to charge them $100 a seat. The catalyst was when we had a consultant talk to a few people outside of the company, just get some feedback from her small business. One of them asked why the product was so cheap. They assumed that if it's inexpensive, maybe the quality isn't all that great. And so we have upped the price.
I'm just always amazed by how hard it is to please users.
It
If it's cheap, it's bad. If it's too expensive, it's bad. But you need to find the right number that reflects the perceived risk and time and effort. And you have like 5 seconds to convince them that this is
Right.
the number you win.
Right.
So once you spotted this problem, how did you start shaping the solution? Was there any idea that sparked how to tackle it?
Once we realized the pricing wasn't the differentiator, we started exploring ways to differentiate our products. So during COVID, I didn't really use Uber Eats or any of that, any of those apps. I would actually call in and order, place my order, go pick it up.
Yeah.
And there was a Japanese restaurant close to me, and I would call them maybe like at least once a week, and I would order the same thing. I'm vegetarian, so like I would say, with tofu, medium spice, and no cutlery, the same order week after week. Each time I call them, they would always ask my phone number, and I'm like, how do you not have my phone number? Like, do you not have a caller ID? I was just surprised by how little information they had to like make that process smoother. So I thought if somehow they knew that I ordered the same thing over and over again, or if they knew who I was, even if I wanted to change my order, they can skip some of those steps. Or they could make that assumption and try to get ahead of it and ask me, right? Going to a local coffee, and as soon as they see you, they're like, regular. So I think it's that like personalization, and because small businesses care so much about that personal touch. They don't want to seem like there's some big company that doesn't care for their customers. They want that corner store that your parents used to go to and you go to now. Then I started thinking, how would one do that? Where would I get a restaurant that placed, or sorry, a customer who placed a previous order from the restaurant? I'm sure that's going in some database.
What I love about your story is how you took advantage of the fact that most of the day, all of us product managers are users. We have our own experiences with different platforms, and we can be inspired from these interactions and adjust them to our context and make something better, design our products better. Thank you for sharing that and
Yes.
highlighting this point.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree with you. I think inspiration is, everywhere if you're looking for it. I like collaboration in general. So I think there's so much data out there, and we were trying to rebuild something that was already out there. I reached out to like different business development managers at different e-commerce companies and say, you have the entire ecosystem for creating a website, managing your let's say appointments, managing your payments, and all these different amazing features that a small business would need, but they almost always didn't have a telephony component because telephony is complex in how it is set up, the architecture and all of that. So the pitch was, why don't we add a little piece of us to your existing customer base? And then and in return, they'll be able to utilize their customer data to provide, user friendly. In this case, we wanted it to be super seamless with the user experience, but at the same time, get the value of existing customer bases and different services that do
So
well.
you thought both on the end user and the customer itself because you wanted to find something like a feature that will benefit both, looking at B2B to C products.
Yeah, small businesses fail within the first year, I think 20-30% by the fifth year. So they have a very high failure rate. So if we don't help them get customers, and they're not going to be our customers in the long run. So in a way, like we want them to be successful and them to have a good relationship with their end customers. So it was important to make sure that that connection, even though like we don't fully control it, we don't control it actually, but nonetheless, like the features we offered helped both ends, both parties, both the business and the end caller.
This is the major challenge in B2B products across industries, the understanding that you have to balance in between the end user and the customer. And even when it comes to the day-to-day of product management,
Right.
just to think how to prioritize between the features.
Right.
But if one can find one feature that could benefit both,
Right.
that is gold. So always like have this in mind. How can I take this feature that might be just beneficial for just the end user? How can I make it a certain adjustment to make it also beneficial for the customer?
Right. Even with, when we did integrate, the consideration for me was, okay, I want to make sure that the caller has a customized experience, right? So it knows who you are. So it'll greet you by your name, and it'll provide information about your specific appointments. All this is done through API calling back and forth from us to the Square platform, but that's from the caller's perspective, right? So we wanted to provide a personalized experience. But at the same time, we have all that amazing data about the caller. So then we said, let's add a way for the business owner to quickly see who's calling, quickly know they have an upcoming appointment, so that the caller, if they end up connecting to the business owner or business associate, they don't have to repeat themselves. So how many times do you call in somewhere and you're like, here's my order number, here's my name, here's my phone number. Callers are fatigued with like having to repeat themselves over and over again. I think that has been solved to a degree with large enterprises, but I think small businesses really, they have like a notebook with your information, right? So a lot of them are not even fully digitized. So equipping the business owner to have all the pieces of data so that they can quickly help them efficiently.
Looking back on it now, after the collaboration has succeeded, what does this teach you about your users or how they think?
Business owners are open to trying new things as long as it helps their business succeed, grow. Their whole idea of using new tools is to see how it meets their end goals. Unlike a B2C where you have a customer who's just using a new product or buying a new product for the fun of it, here it's very much whether they're saving time, whether they are making their processes more efficient. It could be being able to contact someone very quickly because it's such an important call. We have a customer who is in the healthcare business. Yes, it could be good price, but does it help them get to the bottom line of succeeding in their business?
Amen. Looking at the goal. Always eyes on the goal if the users has achieved their goals.
I mean, I think it is in hindsight obvious, but it definitely did take me some time to get to that conclusion because I'm so excited about new design, colors, and onboarding. And sometimes I gotta be like, okay, what are we trying to help them achieve? And take a step back.
Thank you so much for sharing your stories, your insights.
So much, Yael. I really appreciate the conversation and your questions, very thoughtful, and just, it's great to chat with another product person.
Yes, this is what this podcast is all about. Just
Mhm.
talking, just you product managers talking about the struggles and the challenges of understanding what users really want and design accordingly. So thank you for sharing your stories and your insights with us. And see you next time.